Heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States and most first world countries. About 700,000 people die every single year from heart disease here in the United States, which is every 33 seconds somebody dies from a heart attack. The good news for us is that there are 5 vegetables proven through research to help to prevent a heart attack. And in this lesson, I'm going to outline all 5 for you. Consume them on a consistent basis. The first vegetable is a set of vegetables called green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables are categorized as kale, spinach, Swiss chard, arugula, and collard greens. A study from Edith Cowan University in 2021, this study demonstrated that consuming 1 cup of green leafy vegetables daily can significantly reduce the risk of heart disease. The research was conducted over a long period of time, which included over 53,000 participants from the Danish Diet, Cancer and Health study. The findings indicated that high intake of these nitrate-rich vegetables, spinach, lettuce, and the other green leafy vegetables I mentioned, was associated with 12 to 26% lower risk of various cardiovascular diseases, including ischemic heart disease and stroke. The primary mechanism of action here is that these green leafy vegetables are nitrate-rich foods, and there's a bacteria in your mouth that converts nitrate-rich foods into nitric oxide, a very important gaseous molecule that vasodilates, meaning it expands your arteries, allowing more oxygen and blood flow and nutrients to deliver to cells. Just a quick tip here on these green leafy vegetables: if you're consuming, or I should say if you're using antiseptic mouthwash like Listerine or Scope, it actually wipes out the bacteria in your mouth that converts green leafy vegetables to nitric oxide, and you will not benefit. So it is important not to take antiseptic mouthwash like Listerine and Scope or any of the ones out there. It will actually increase risk of heart disease. Another study on green leafy vegetables was a meta-analysis, and it was a comprehensive meta-analysis including 95 prospective studies on the intake of green leafy vegetables and their intake on heart health. The analysis found that an intake of these vegetables was linked to reduced risk of heart disease and stroke. The study highlighted that for each 100 grams per day increase in green leafy vegetable consumption, which is about half a cup of green leafy vegetables, there was a notable reduction in all-cause mortality. The study says it's likely due to the nitrate content we spoke about, but also the essential nutrients and bioactive compounds like vitamin K and folate that you find in green leafy vegetables. Now, I personally do not consume kale and spinach from this group of green leafy vegetables because they're higher in oxalates, and I don't do well with oxalates, and most people don't. But I personally do have arugula and lettuce and collard greens, and what I do to help get rid of some of the anti-nutrients is I'll saute them and eliminate the water after it's sauteed, add more oil, and then eat that green leafy vegetable to help minimize the anti-nutrient oxalates in a lot of these green leafy vegetables. The second vegetable to prevent heart disease are cruciferous vegetables, classified as broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage. The Australian Women's Study in 2017 investigated the dietary habits of over 680 older women in Australia and found that higher intake of cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli and Brussels sprouts was associated with lower levels of arterial calcification. Arterial calcification is one of the key indicators of atherosclerosis, a major risk factor of heart disease and heart attacks. Women who consume more cruciferous vegetables had less calcium built up in their arteries, suggesting a protective effect against heart disease. A systematic review and meta-analysis from 2017 was an extensive analysis reviewing the data from multiple prospective cohort studies involving thousands of participants. The findings showed that higher consumption of cruciferous vegetables was linked to a significant reduction in the risk of coronary artery disease, stroke, and total cardiovascular disease. Specifically, each serving of cruciferous vegetables per day was associated with a 16% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. Broccoli, for example, has numerous benefits because of a compound in it called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane from broccoli can influence estrogen metabolism by promoting the detoxification of toxic estrogens and supporting a favorable balance between the different forms of estrogen that are less likely to contribute to cancer risk. This is significant for reducing the risk of hormone-related cancers such as breast cancer. Sulforaphane enhances the activity of phase 2 detoxification, which helps the metabolism of different estrogens and allows the body to excrete toxic estrogens in the body. So there's a cancer protection effect, especially as it relates to breast cancer. There's also research on cardiovascular benefits from sulforaphane, broccoli. Sulforaphane has been shown to have cardioprotective effects. It activates the NRF2 pathway, which plays a crucial role in reducing oxidative stress and inflammation, both of which are key contributors to heart disease. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, for example, highlights that regular consumption of sulforaphane-rich foods can reduce the risk of heart disease by improving blood vessel function, reducing arterial stiffness, and lowering blood pressure. Additionally, research has shown that consuming broccoli and sulforaphane and broccoli sprouts helps to reduce oxidized LDL particles. These are the small sticky LDL particles called pattern B. They get lodged into your arteries, creating a blockage and leading to lack of blood flow and heart disease. And research has shown here that sulforaphane helps to prevent that from happening. The third vegetable is tomatoes. Oh, you're thinking, Ben, don't you know tomatoes are a fruit, man? You're right. But in this video, I'm gonna classify them as a vegetable. I know it's wrong, but I wanna make the case for tomatoes in your diet. And here's a thought, by the way. If tomatoes are a fruit, does that mean ketchup is fruit juice? I think so. What do you think? Let me know if you're watching this on YouTube. But tomatoes have a powerful ingredient in it called lycopene. And there's some really interesting research on lycopene supplementation and that from eating the actual tomato, the fruit. There was a study from the University of Cambridge, and this study evaluated the effects of lycopene, a potent antioxidant found in tomatoes, on vascular function in patients with cardiovascular disease. The randomized controlled trial included 72 participants, half of whom were given a daily supplement of lycopene, equivalent to eating 2 to 3 tomatoes per day. The results showed a significant improvement in the function of blood vessels, particularly in those with pre-existing cardiovascular conditions. This improvement was attributed to lycopene's ability to enhance endothelial function and reduce oxidative stress, which we know are key factors in the development and progression of heart disease. Another study on tomatoes and lycopene, a meta-analysis from 2017. This extensive meta-analysis reviewed multiple studies involving thousands of participants to assess the impact of tomato and lycopene intake on cardiovascular health. The analysis found a consistent association between higher consumption of tomatoes and tomato-based products and a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. Specifically, it showed higher levels of lycopene in the blood, primarily derived from tomato consumption, were linked to lower LDL cholesterol levels, reduced oxidative stress, both of which are critical factors in preventing atherosclerosis and consequent heart disease. The fourth vegetable is a list of vegetables that are carotenoid-rich foods. Those include carrots, sweet potatoes, pumpkins, and red bell peppers. The key ingredient with all these vegetables on this list here is carotenoid. A Dutch study on carotenoid-rich foods from 2011. This long-term Dutch study published in the British Journal of Nutrition linked the consumption of deep orange fruits and vegetables, especially carrots, with a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. The study followed participants for over 10 years and found that those who consumed the highest amounts of carotenoid-rich foods, particularly carrots, had a significantly lower risk of cardiovascular disease. This was attributed to the high levels of beta-carotene and other antioxidants in carrots, which helped to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. Another study, which was a meta-analysis on carotenoids on cardiovascular risk, this comprehensive meta-analysis published in the Journal of Atherosclerosis reviewed multiple studies involving thousands of participants. It found that higher blood levels of carotenoids, primarily from carrot consumption, were associated with reduced risk of coronary heart disease and stroke. The study emphasized that the importance of dietary beta-carotene and other carotenoids in lowering LDL cholesterol and improving overall heart health. And the fifth vegetable to prevent a heart attack is garlic. Aged garlic, specifically. This study from 2016 was conducted by the Los Angeles Biomedical Research Institute, and this study focused on the effects of aged garlic extract on cardiovascular health. And by the way, I'm gonna reference all the studies in the notes down below. So I always do that. Go check them out if you wanna fact check some of the research I'm sharing here today. This randomized double-blind study included participants with metabolic syndrome who were given either a placebo or 2,400 milligrams of aged garlic extract daily. The results showed that those taking the garlic extract experienced a significant reduction in the buildup of plaque in their arteries, particularly the soft plaque, which is associated with a higher risk of heart attacks. The study demonstrated the potential of aged garlic extract in reversing early heart disease and reducing the risk of atherosclerosis. Another study from the Journal of Nutrition evaluated numerous randomized controlled trials over several decades to assess garlic's effect on heart health. The review found that garlic, especially aged garlic extract, significantly reduced blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and markers of inflammation. Specifically, systolic blood pressure was reduced by an average of 4.1, with even greater reductions observed in individuals with high blood pressure. The review concluded that garlic has substantial cardioprotective effects, supporting its use in the prevention and management of cardiovascular disease. Another powerful way to clear out your arteries and activate your arteries' janitorial system is to raise high-density lipoprotein, HDL cholesterol, in your body. And if you enjoyed today's lesson, well, I just released a video outlining the best foods to raise HDL and clear your arteries. Click the video on the screen to watch that next. In this lesson, I'm going to be sharing with you the best foods that will raise HDL in your body and clear those arteries. Before we get to the list of those foods I want you to incorporate, let's start with the foods to remove that actually cause arterial blockages.